Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the Shadow and Sun Show, and welcome back to Friday's second breakfast. How you guys doing today? I am in a really good mood. I got a lot of reasons to be in a good mood. This morning's video, as Bo and Hungar noticed, I was pretty excited to get that off my chest and get that out there into the ether and talk about one of my favorite things. It's Friday. Hope you guys are doing well. What is that reflection? Bouncing off of but it's that's funny. My notes from last night were reflecting the light, making it weird for me. Let's see what we got going on here. Anybody in the chat? Probably not. It's early. Folks seem to like to watch me freaking struggle by myself. I am no DM James when it comes to just uh, there it is again. It's this. Yes, it is. The sun is just coming in like crazy from that our window. Um, Tonight, as you may have seen, is also the giveaway. I'm really excited to get some of that stuff off to all my friends out there in TV land. We couldn't have done it without you guys, and I'll go and gush and whatnot later on tonight. But it's going to be a really good day, I think. All things considered. I got a package coming in the mail today. Good breakfast. The boy got out early, hopefully on time. Uh, I got some minis on my table. Had a fun conversation with my good friend in the land down under last night. That's always a lot of fun. And let's see what I got on my table today. A mess. That's what I've got. If you could see what I see, um, you'd be like, Shadow, Shadow, Shadow. What are we going to do with you? Um, I'm still working on these treasure piles. They're almost ready to pack away, but a couple of them are just a little too dark, and I need to go back and lighten them a little bit. Really kind of hard to do with dark wood treasure chests. The actual piles of gold and silver. You probably can't see it, but there is some blue in there, and that's intentional. Trying to get the shadows to be blue. What's up, Squirrel? Hey, man, how you doing? Lunch break? Yeah, it's only 9 a.m. here. I had my bacon and my toast, and I also got a couple of these dark elf flunkies. And believe it or not, what I'm most proud of about this is I found this color. I have to go find it again. You see the blue kind of peeking through in there. It looks better in on camera. It's actually bluer than it really is, and it really kind of gives that sort of underground mossy look. I think I nailed it on that, but I'm still like at the halfway point with the guys themselves um, in their uniforms, if you will. Gonna darken the gold a little with some soft tone and try to bring out maybe some lavender highlights along the purples. And then also, for those of you who don't know, in all my worlds, my elves have either uh, light blue skin for the high elves, light green skin for the wood elves, and a purplish or lavender for the gray elves, and a little bit darker skin, purple for the dark elves, uh, to make them very different from Tolkien elves, not just visually, but they have traits and qualities that I've developed over the years to make them very, very different from Tolkien elves. Kind of a cross between uh, Eldar from 40K and the fact that they live out in space and on lots of planets, and a little bit of the um, traditional aspects that you'd expect. But then there was this great race of interstellar creatures in Palladium in their sci-fi, not riffs, but they're like sci-fi universe that I really liked. It really uh, brought some ideas to the foreground of them. And last but not least, the Gamelons or the Camillas, the blue guys from Star Blazers, also make up like 25% of their personality and their culture and their history and stuff like that. Because I don't like the way fantasy always portrays elves as on this slow decline, because us as humans, we can't tolerate the notion of something being better than us. And I think, like, uh, George Taylor from Planet of the Apes, if there's things out there, there's got to be something better than us, just because of the laws of physics and the age of the galaxy and all that. There had to have been something that's better than us in some ways, not every way, obviously. We have some redeeming qualities here and there, but there's got to be something that's just kind of like in Babylon 5. The Mimbari, they were clearly superior to us humans in that story in ways, but then they had their own flaws and weaknesses and issues. And why not? Why does humanity always have to be the top dog, the best at everything? I think that's just hubris, arrogance, and just you know our inability to see things as they might be. And would our planet's young. It's 3 or 4 billion years old in a galaxy that's almost 14 billion years, and life could have developed billions and billions of years ago. And what if a race spawned out there and went on to do great stuff and terrible stuff, and they're still there doing their thing. So that's me, in a nutshell. So what are you working on, Squirrel? Anything exciting? I have actually a craft video for you, thanks to a suggestion from James L. that I need to get out there. Maybe if I can get to the store this weekend and buy the one main ingredient for it, something that anybody could pick up and then use on a semi-regular basis. What's up, Huey? How you doing, man? Hey, Huey, are you in the States? Uh, just yay or nay. Because if you are in the States, then you did qualify for the giveaway tonight, and I hope you come in and win something cool. And if not, them's the breaks. When the tariffs and the post office get their heads out of their asses, and we can start shipping things out to people without being bent over as we do so, I'll open up the next giveaway. You are awesome. Okay, cool, bud. You've been a regular for a good long time, and I hope you win something really cool. I hope you win something you don't already have, and you don't put it on eBay either. Squirrel says, just painting some minis that I started back home, some spearmen, nothing really interesting or wow exciting. Still painting though. Hey, as long as it's not a chore, and I was telling James last night, uh, you're ready to paint. You're at the perfect point to paint when you can't wait to go and paint. I have a lot of stuff on my table. I've got stuff over here, mostly Jack's stuff, but I have stuff over here that has been sitting. Like, I'll give you a perfect example. I've got these Gray Knight Terminators from GW that somebody was gracious enough to send us. I don't even have the arms on yet. I look at them and I'm like, oh my god, so much detail, so much filigree, so many little doodads to glue on, and I'm like, I'm not ready to do it. I'm not. I couldn't give two craps about painting them. I'm super grateful. I wanted them. The Grey Knights are freaking awesome. I love everything about them. And when I played Epic Space Marines, etc., I always had a small little unit of them, and they always kicked butt. But they're so friggin' daunting. And then I've got other stuff that I keep going back to, like these giants that Cal sent me. They're coming along, but I'm like, just I'm going to do this guy. I'm going to work on him while we talk here. All I think I need to do is add some sort of highlighting on his pants, Although the backside actually looks good. You can't see it, but there's like light blue that's coming through that looks like they've been worn. Kind of like if you got that old pair of blue jeans. You can't really see it here for some reason, but you got that old pair of blue jeans that started out dark blue and now they're light blue in places and dark blue in others. And so let's see. Let's find a light blue. That's a little too light blue. Deep sky blue, or do we want? Why is there deep sky blue and sky blue? I'm going to go with the sky blue from Vallejo and just touch them up a little dry brushing to make them look a little more ragged and worn. And then we'll go and do the shirt. Better hit it with the. Sorry for the noise, but you got to shake up your paints, folks. Oh my God, this is one of the best investments I bought for this table, even though it's right next to the speaker. And you probably guys are going, dude, enough already. No, no, I need to shake these paints. And even then, sometimes you still got to go in with a pokey tool or a barbecue skewer and stir them up at the bottom because the color is stuck to the bottom. Okay, let's see what we got. I still need the pokey tool to poke through the hole. Okay, that pokey tool needs work. And for pokey tools, I use these. There's some sort of knitting needles. I don't know exactly what, but uh, I've had these in my box, my toolbox, or my paint area forever, and I'm not going to buy one of those Dino Laser personal massager for paint. Thanks, Dino Laser. Welcome to the show. I don't recognize your name, but folks are always welcome to come in here and make themselves known and hang out with us. Get our morning started. I got a good feeling about this weekend, even though the mother-in-law is coming back from Mexico to invade my personal spaces. I know everybody else, even my dog, is looking forward to seeing her because she feeds him more than I do, and it's my job to feed this dumbass. Oh, that's a little too strong. No, we'll make do. Definitely get around the cuffs, but leave the shadows. Okay, that's not that bad. It's still a little bright. I'll probably have to just go back over it with the wash, which I find the washes oftentimes will really fix those little mistakes when you like. You see now they're like way lighter. I can come back in and that's really funny. Personal massager for paint. Bring back the darkness, but in the shadows with the wash, but at the same time dull that bright highlight that I just did. Let's see, I don't know if you can see that. It looks better on camera than it does. I usually watch and lurk because I'm at work, but today I'm playing hooky. Hey, good for you, man. Some of the best times of my life were playing hooky from not just work but school back in the day. Which you can't do anymore. Although my son has found a way to get out of that. I think through JROTC and his position that he gets to like come and go as he pleases. He's literally come home without uh, going through the school, uh, through the front office kind of thing, and just hop on his bike and say, "I'm out of here." He goes to like Burger King and the local grocery store to get a baguette as part of some sort of bit. He calls it. I guess there's some joke or meme that he's reenacting at school by doing that. I don't understand kids these days. Where are all my X-Acto knives? That's kind of weird. Oh, they're over here. I moved things and now I can't find them. I need to clean this pokey tool because it's just covered in schmutz. So, Dino, what are you into? Yeah, yeah, a role player, a war gamer, a D&D guy, just a miniature painter. You come here for the crafts, which we rarely do anymore. I miss that, man. Going through our garage last month and the month before, moving everything around and reorganizing everything. I came across every single craft we've ever done, and oh man, it was so. It brought back a lot of really good memories, memories Jackie didn't even have anymore. Like I pulled this. You guys probably don't remember, but we painted up these toy UFOs to make this cool woo UFO landing noise that we took apart and chromed up, and they look really nice, and they make this great Halloween spooky UFO landing noise. And I'm like, remember this? He's like, no, but I want to use them for my game. I'm like, there you go. We got two of them. We did them. It's hard to believe that August will be the beginning of our 7th year of doing this. And I'm really looking forward to having Jackie on the show again tonight to play the Vanna White and roll the dice for the giveaway and throw in his, teenage angsty, uh, snide comments just because, he's my boy and he knows he can get away with it. And, you know, everybody keeps asking me, when's he going to be on the show? Where's he at? What's he doing? And for the most part, he is doing school stuff, getting ready to graduate and hanging out with his friends and stuff like that. And just enjoying his last year of high school, which I know he is going to miss on a regular daily basis. He, I don't know about you guys, but I hated school. I absolutely freaking hated it. Um, but and honestly, his whole generation, uh, partly thanks to COVID, they enjoy the hell out of it. And I like I said earlier, I played hooky a lot. I missed, believe it or not, I missed 191 days of my freshman year. I've been playing D&D weekly about the past 11. Okay, that's great. But I started with Turtles and Robotech in like 1990. Um, my first Palladium book was Transdimensional Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, and I was reading. I didn't know anything about any of the rules, but I was gleaning from them. Thoughts about how the mechanics worked, and I really loved like the temporal mage and the interdimensional stuff. And I'm like, this is something I got to look into. It. Then I picked up the Rifts book, and then I picked up a whole bunch of the Palladium fantasy role playing game books. We played that for easily 10 years after playing AD&D for about 10 years with other games mixed in. Really getting into minis hardcore that last couple of years. The last couple of years, I'd rather be painting than playing the last few months. Um, it's amazing. I don't know if you're a DM or a player, but either way, when you're painting, you can really um, get inspired to do things like for example, like this giant here. I can't wait to throw him in somewhere. Use him as a prop because we play online. Uh, Oh, okay, that's awesome. And use this guy and develop his personality as I'm painting him. Because if you look at him, he almost looks like a philosophical kind of semi-intelligent, giant. Despite his appearance, below the neck, he looks like he's got something to say. Right? He really looks like he's got a plan for his compatriots, his comrades. It's like, I got an idea. We should do this, and then run with that. I need to work on his face though. It's a little too dark and it's hard to really see. But uh, despite the buck tooth look making him look kind of dopey, he's still kind of with that the positioning of this particular arm that I could have put anywhere. I think it was actually meant to hold like a weapon or something. But the great thing about this particular line of giants was that the heads and some of the arms and the bodies were disconnected from the legs, so you could put things in different poses. And so I tried to come up with interesting things, like even this guy, like he's specifically pointing at some humans or whatever, some player characters, like, you're going to do this, or I'll get you, or something. He's in the middle of some sort of thought or speech, and I like doing that, and thinking about the encounters or the characters or the NPCs or what have you, and giving them as much, like I was talking about earlier, this morning's video, giving them as packing as much into them as quickly as I can, because I usually make them up spur of the moment. I rarely have set NPCs unless you're in an area that I know the players are going to be at for a while, because smell my that's not what I was thinking, but that's hysterical, Dino. That's really funny. Um, and no, you don't want to do that. Even though he's a storm giant, it's going to smell like more than ozone. Just saying. But yeah, throw as much into your characters in any way you can, and make them as memorable as you can. You never know when you're going to want to use them again. Which, if you're a really good DM, you're not going to just waste them and let them, you know, toddle off and never to be seen again. If you can, create an interesting NPC, you can get the player characters to remember them, uh, instead of just looking at them as a cardboard prop to give them a quest, or give them or their reward, or give them a clue. Give them something to remember. Give them some sort of personality, some sort of motivation, some sort of you know something that they're not just you know digital files on a video game where they serve that one purpose, and if you ever go back to them, they're still having the same conversation. I hate that, but that's the way it was back in the day, and since then we've kind of developed better programming and stuff. But like, even my favorite game of all time, which is Knights of the Old Republic, after you've exhausted all of the conversation, they're just standing there forever. The notebook of NPCs. Yes and no. You got to be careful, because there's some players out there that will torpedo your game, or realize, hey, you're having too much fun with this NPC. Let's make sure he never gets to do that again. Or they're the same jackasses that want to go to the part on the map you haven't drawn. It's like, you can clearly see I haven't done that work yet. In order to get there, you're going to have to go through all the other shit that's on the map. Okay, not all of it, but uh, don't be that guy. Don't, uh, because there's a good chance that the GM's going to go, oh, you want to go over here, huh? Oh, okay, there be dragons, and they got your number. So don't do that. You know, you're there to have a good time and whatnot. Don't be a jackass. Okay. Like I was telling my friend last night, I work in a what do you call it? Dang it, assembly line fashion. I poured out some blue paint on my palette. Now I got to use it all. Not gonna just no Omen. Well, maybe someday, but that particular day, probably not, because uh, it's way over at the edge of the map, and like in some video games, you can't get there till you've fought your way there, and in order to fight your way there, you gotta fight through stuff that might be yeah. Sure. I mean, that's absolutely not a problem with that. Let the GM know, hey, uh we're going to go over here because we want to go over there, and so now you're ready and you can prepare for that. But like trying to make some beeline and take a, cut out all the other stops along the way. Um, Especially in games like D&D where you have to. Uh, you made me lose track of thought there, Omen. Yes, Christopher Columbus wanted to go to the blank spot of the map, but he had to go through all the other stuff, and he had encounters, including that really weird one with the supposed UFO. I mean, if he had just tried to take the shortest route there, we wouldn't have that story to talk about and to ponder. What did he see? Were they just hopped up on rum or something, or drank a little too much seawater? You got to go through all the steps along the way to get to the the perceived goal, if you will. It, Making too many shortcuts cuts you out of a lot of potentially cool stuff. Maybe there was that Vorpal sword or that rod of lordly might that you went around because you thought your GM was not as smart as you guys, not as well prepared or yes and no, Omen. Sometimes the crazy stuff is right outside your front door, especially if you live in downtown LA. The crazy stuff is definitely on your front door, and you better bring some disinfectant. But yeah, don't try to screw over your GM thinking that it's funny or something like that. You'll get there. You'll get there. Or maybe you won't. I was talking to somebody this morning uh, who was talking about their DM who considers himself a failure if he doesn't kill somebody every session. Um, well, why don't you just get that out of the way? At the beginning of the game, just randomly roll and kill somebody with a stroke of DM Fiat Lightning, and then we can get on with the game instead of your arbitrary goal of slaughtering a player character for the sake of slaughtering a player character. That's you know what's the point? You know what I mean? Don't try to second guess the GM. It's better to lean into the crazy blank. Yes, off grid. I just took player agency to the maximum, but I respect the rule of cool the entire time. Have tools will travel. I mean, we are tool makers. Um, that is, tool makers and community builders, according to the Mimbari. I've got some. I'm working on this genie that I haven't touched in like 2 years. I take offense to that. You guys died because of choices. No, well, maybe Omen, but also they could have died because of bad die rolls. And you can never, blame anyone for bad die rolls. Yes, you are. I actually mentioned you this morning, as a matter of fact, because I really enjoy your approach to uh, your characters in my AD&D game. I would say the same for you, Omen, but you've missed so many games lately. It's like, man, what would he do in this situation? Uh, and he's not here, and I want to kind of take some time to explore your character's uh, backstory goal. Thanks, off grid. Uh, I appreciate that. Who do we have here? I bet it's Owen. I can always count on Owen to pop in. Uh, oh my God, it's DM James again. Wow, 2 days in a row. What's happening, bro?
What do you mean again? I told you since you refused to join my channel, I was just going to stalk you.
It's I'm just trying to get like real stuff done. Uh, and
Yeah, I'm
and
not buying your excuses, but you're still not getting away.
I can't quit you, James. You know that.
Wow. Okay. That really kicked off a notch, didn't it? Were you painting?
I'm painting a genie that I got from Archon Studios. He's kind of cool. We'll see if I can get him in there.
That looks very similar to the genie that Otherworld Miniatures used to sell.
And he's hiding his scimitar behind his back.
Yeah, he's like, yeah. You know
Yeah,
what
I'll
that
grant your
reminds me
wish.
of?
Oh.
There's a picture in a D&D adventure of a genie that's kind of like that.
And if you can't really tell, but he's doing the Doctor Evil thing with his finger on his face like this.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah. I forget the name of the adventure now, but it's like the room's an illusion, and there's like a bunch of harem girls laying around, and then there's the guy in the
Who
big
doesn't like
turban.
that.
I
Almost
think
sounds like something in White Plume Mountain, but I know it's not that.
geez. Well, it turns out it's an
You can blame the
illusion,
dice
and
gods.
the guy
Yeah,
in the
ain't no problem.
turban's basically an asshole, but
Yeah, well, I mean, it's a dead giveaway, right?
right.
I mean, who wears one of them smelly, nasty things in the modern day?
Uh, it's not the best ambush. I think the best ambush is the garden of beautiful flowers and birds singing and all that deep, deep underground.
Hmm.
And then when you go in, it's actually a vampire who's having relations with a succubus, and the singing flower birds are all freaking bats.
Nice,
Yeah,
nice.
D2, D1, D2. That's one of the
Oh
encounters.
yeah, Descent to the Depths of the Earth and Vault of the Drow, and followed by Hidden Path, Toa,
Yeah, it
followed
goes.
up by I think Q1. God, I can't believe I remember
Oh,
that shit.
Q1. I hated Q1, but if you wanted to play the whole campaign, it starts with like the A series, then the G series, and then the D
The A
series.
series, really?
Yep, it starts with the slave lords,
Mm-hmm.
moves to the giants, and
Uh-huh.
then moves to the drow. Because remember, in the slave lords, in the end, the big like payoff of the investigative part of it is that it's the drow behind it. And then when you go to the G series, there's a couple of different places where you take out like a giant leader, and there's that drow and Clevadra or whatever her name is involved with it.
I
That's
honestly,
basically that's the big thing.
Hill Giant. The only one I really remember out of the Giant series, and I've got them all. I've been through them, ran them, etc. I can't remember the Fire Giant and the Frost Giant one to save my freaking life. I got like no memories of those at all.
Well, I mean, the frost giant takes place in a glacier, and he's got pet giant polar bears,
Of course,
and yeah, but I think in the frost giant one, isn't the frost giant one where there's like a lawful evil cloud giant that's there?
I have no clue, dude. I really don't remember it. Um,
Well, it's
it's
been a little
been
while.
so long, dude. I was like the last time I went through any of the Giant series, I was about 16. So and the only reason I remember the Hill Giant one was because we had gone through White Plume Mountain before that, and my character ended up with Black Razor. Still
Yeah,
have it. My that character went on to have a son. He gave the sword to his son. That son had a son, gave it to him, and then it ended up in the hands of a great granddaughter, who's eventually going to hand it off to one of Jackie's characters, so that I can keep it, multi generational, uh, in the family. But when I went into Steading of the Hill Giant, my character was an assassin,
Hmm.
and I backstabbed like the first hill giant I could with Black Razor. You know what happens? You get his hit dice for, like one turn per hit die. So you hit a hill giant, you get 8 extra hit dice for 8 turns, which is like an hour and a half or some junk. Take care, Mobius. And the party just got the hell out of my way as I just slaughtered hill giant after hill giant to the point where, I think at one time I had like 100 extra hit dice when we walked into the main hallway of the hill giants, and there's like 47 hill giants in there,
Right.
and just swing, swing, swing. I'm rolling, as a 100 hit die monster or some shit. That might not be right, but either way, it's a +5 weapon. You're pumped up with, you know, triple digit hit points. You know, and your buddies are
Butler got
back.
killed by that weapon. Yeah, he had a fighter, and when they went through White Plume Mountain, they were racing against Warduke and Warduke's party to get it, and Warduke got it first. So
Mm.
then they encounter Warduke, and he already had the sword. And as the players were starting to close in, he immediately killed both of his henchmen with the sword, got their hit die,
Yep.
ran off and like critted Hungar's
Hunger.
fighter like turn one, the nat 20. And the way I was running it was that it had Vorpal weapon effects. So
Oh.
it removed Hungar's head. And in the end, they ended up defeating Warduke and getting the sword, but no one kept it. They actually took the artifacts back to the city of Greyhawk
Where they had been.
and gave them over to the leaders who stored them away in
Mhm.
the vaults.
Yeah, we were supposed to do that. We were supposed to return them, but we got them and we said, yeah, F that noise, um, and kept them.
Well, I mean, it got pretty rough because the cleric in the group got the trident wave
Nice weapon.
and immediately decided she would convert to in the thing they mentioned Poseidon or whatever, but I
Right.
chose one of the Greyhawk sea gods
Sure.
and like Tyrannus or whatever, and then which meant her alignment shifted. She lost a level, but then also she got really super evangelical and like what was
Mhm.
going around trying to force everybody to convert
As
to
you
her
do.
found religion or else. But you know, just
I
heard
uh, I was just talking to OGGM yesterday.
right.
Uh, uh, you know, back and forth about that and Wave and Whelm, which I'm underwhelmed with most things Dwarven. They're just how you can get like really burnt out on something just because like everybody just won't shut up about it. Like
Yep.
me and the Venture Brothers. Um,
What about I don't get burned out on that. I like the Adventure Brothers.
right, but at some point, I will or other people will because
More
uh,
like me and Hyperborea.
maybe well, I mean, something else comes along and it's not like it's better, but it's just new, and we're always uh I don't know, I was thinking about this. Do you think it's the game and the hobby that makes us like that, or we were like that and we thus gravitated toward the hobby and the game always after that new hit of newness and the unexplored and the unknown?
That's a really good question because, like, it's almost like, are we constantly trying to chase the feeling we had that first time we opened a book? I don't know. Maybe. That's why I always say I know is definitively not the best version of basic,
Mhm.
and yet nostalgia means I like it best.
Yeah,
But Metzer's better.
I'm going to be an AD&D guy. It does what I want it to do.
Well, I'm
Uh,
talking about just basic.
I need to. I have the rules encyclopedia, and whichever the other one is, I'm trying to find a copy of it. And people say you could read it on Scribd for free. I tried that, and pages of it were not on it, or
Right.
would not. You could not access it because you could only go like 20 pages deep uh, without like signing up. And I'm not doing that. I can go a couple of clicks down on the initial search and find somebody else who's put it up for free or whatever if I look long enough or whatever. And I'm like, I might as well just go and bite the bullet and buy a copy, like a beater copy, just to be able to read it and go, okay, uh how is it good, how is it bad.
Well, which
uh,
version are you talking about, though?
well, I've got the rules cyclopedia. Which one is it? That's Beckney, right?
That's Beckney. So you would be wanting to look for uh, BX. You can get that on Drive to RPG pretty cheap. You know.
You say that, but you're talking to the guy who's banned from drive through because uh, no particular reason.
No, I didn't know I was talking to anybody. How did you even get
Dude,
banned?
I don't know, dude. I have been trying for over 2 years to be a regular customer and throw money at them, hand over fist. Uh, click the link. It's in the usual spot. Off grid. You're always welcome. Yeah. Whenever I go to drive through to buy something, they say my bank is declining the purchase. Literally, I have been on the phone 5 times with my bank as I'm trying to make the transaction to make sure that my bank isn't doing that. And they're saying, no, there's nothing coming in. And I'll have this process. I'll buy some on eBay. The charge will go through. I've always got money in the bank. And then I'll go to drive through and pick out an item I want to buy, try to buy it, and they say there's something wrong with my bank, blah blah blah. Try again, and I talk to the guys at drive through, and they don't know what's going on, or they're lying, which could very well be the case because someone put me on that list, because drive through does have a list of people they don't want to deal with, like the Red Room and I think Venger for a little while. And maybe it's my affiliation through them that got me on the list, and they never took me off the list. Just because I like these people and whatnot, I never really go off on anything. Uh, that would
Maybe they're just not set up to handle like offshore accounts from like the
Liberia
islands or something.
could be, which is funny because they did. I'm going to give it to them. I wanted to buy a PDF of something that came out, and they sent me a gift card, a digital gift card, and that transaction went through no problem. And I only have one bank account, one bank card, one way to pay. And I shouldn't have to make up a whole bunch of new accounts and go through that because it's not going to matter if it's my bank that's which is weird too because I've had different like if you ever lose your card and you get a new card in the mail and it's all different. I've had several different cards fail. So clearly, using my name or address or something has got me on some kind of list that someone once upon a time said, "We don't like this guy, so don't do business with him."
Yeah, they
Ah,
owe me like $9. Hey, look at
what
this
is
guy.
happening, my brother? Look at you, man,
Hey, how's
living
it
the
going?
freaking dream.
Finally got a nice day again, so I figured I'd come out and try this. I'm also trying to test my internet feed, like how good it does out here.
Okay,
Nice.
well, everything is fine except we can't hear the wind, but we can also hear DM James digging through a pile of miniature bases.
So you can't hear any wind? Or you
Not
can?
now. I could.
Okay, cool.
It's intermittent. Oh, okay. Those look like Grendel miniatures walls.
They're just 2-inch walls. and I've got like 40 of them. So if I want to set up the walls for usually I only put corners up because then I let the players figure out the rest of the room.
Nice.
Because I do play tactical D&D. Or
we all do.
Victoria.
We all do. I mean,
but I really only do tactical stuff during a combat. It's not like how some people will build like a whole dungeon.
Yeah, this guy.
You do that? See, I don't.
We got the Dungeons and Lasers. Of course, we're going to do that. Jackie, and his crew freaking love it. They've only played with the Dungeons and Lasers, and they just go freaking ape shit when they see him take off the fog of war one room at a time, and they're like, "Oh my god, this is so cool!" We want to ruin everybody else's game that they ever played in. So they're spoiled. When they play with Jackie, we've done everything except put the lights in the holes for torchlight because we have these little sets of lights that you can put in the little holes in the walls and it'll light up the dungeon. We haven't done that yet, but dang, dude, you are one lucky. Look at this, man. Out there with his coffee and the freaking wild blue yonder and trees everywhere.
We lucked out by finding a really, really rural property that is basically next to a road on 4 sides, or like on the 2 sides, sorry. So but there's basically nothing around us except for way, way up at the dead end of the road where there's like a bunch of rich houses on a lake. So, but it's nice because it gives us all these walk-ins on our property from the road to like access it and do different things. Or eventually I'm going to bring in backhoes and do stuff. Just speaking of that, I'm going off road again into one of the little cutouts.
Look at that, man.
Yeah, I'll be up in the middle of that in a couple weeks. Except unlike that, mine won't be flat.
Yeah. Well, it's not that flat, bro. I'll take you up to the other part, the high part. This ain't that flat. But yeah, I get what you mean. There's like literal mountains.
I bet you run some of the best outdoor overland sessions.
Probably.
Oh, son of a! I didn't want to do that. Well, I guess I'm using that color.
Some crazy big pines around here. They're kind of like our biggest trees.
Yeah.
Big white pines. You got some yellow, but not many yellow pines.
We got a lot of pine, but actually where I am, it's mostly hardwood. So a lot of oak, a lot of hickory. But we do have a lot of cedar where I am, too.
You've got the excellent wood for smoking, then. Smoking meats.
Yeah.
Oh, good hardwood.
Hickory just grows everywhere, but we also, I don't know if you even got them up there. We got poplars. And it's kind of
That's not messing with the sound, is it?
No.
Yeah, it's like that's nice. Look at that. You got your creek running.
Oh, yeah, man. Got the creek. There's about 5-6 little waterfalls, some couple a little bigger than this where it runs across the property. Because I have a marsh on the opposite side of the road and a marsh over here on my side of the road. Came in here the other day and heard ducks. It must have a nest over in there. I could hear them doing their little clucking and stuff.
Oh, yeah, man. That's cool.
I'd be immune to witches on that little island because the water runs around here and it runs around the other side and it's got a marsh in front of it.
Witches and vampires, right?
Yeah.
Vampires can't cross running water.
Do you have to worry about that up there?
There's some weird occulty stuff up this way because it's like isolated from back in the day, but other than that.
Yeah, I used to make expeditions up to this place called Black Star Canyon. It's a real place here in off the Ortega Highway in California.
No one expects or is surprised by anything weird in California.
Yeah, but this was in the 80s, you know. But it's a real thing, and people don't talk about it, which is weird. With all the woo woo stuff I've investigated, I've never heard anybody talk about it. And it's scary. I mean, it's freaking scary. I mean, processions of people in black robes and torches, you know, on certain nights.
That's something I won't move right there. I don't know if you can see that.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
The previous owner's good old boy there. Good boy. He buried him there. And he's got his water dish next to him, and we're not going to move it. Even though it's a place where we'd want to put a little bridge across, we're not going to move it.
Oh,
Let him
Good for
rest.
you.
he buried his buddy there.
Yeah, I won't move that. Jump this here.
Yeah, I love like what you're walking through. That whole deal that's kind of
The earth under your feet.
right, you know?
Love it. The crunch and the crackle of leaves.
Yeah, that's what I like. I mean, I've already said that, you know, the wife and I are going to Kentucky over the Mother's Day for like maybe a week. And,
Oh, nice.
yeah, I'm probably going to take a couple rifles with me just to go up because I got a range on my property to go up and just burn through some ammo. So,
Hey, Chris, I have been watching this lovely young lady, Thursday Adams, on Appalachia Talk. She started popping up, and we'll give you Appalachian pronunciations of things. She is adorable. I'm sure she's all married up and whatnot, but she is just absolutely freaking adorable.
I apologize if these leaves crunching are coming through on the stream.
yeah, don't bother me.
You know, speaking of that, I also watched a video to brush up on my move silently skills because I've done some sneaking in the days.
Fox walking?
Yeah, exactly, fox walking. Yes.
Yep.
Whoa, what did I do with that? Oh shit! Did I just put something away in the wrong
I
place?
learned about that from my Indian relatives. I got a tiny bit of native in me.
I learned from Dan Brown actually.
Oh yeah, that outdoors guy, right?
Yeah, crazy sumbitch running around in the snow in his sneakers and his skivvies. Screw that noise. Screw that. You would find me come springtime, you know, curled up in a ball, covered in my own frozen piss.
Just found an egg or something.
But I
Maybe one of those
don't know.
ducks.
I don't know if you guys remember these back in the '80s, and I'm getting a new pair. Do you remember the old high top moccasin boots that go up to your knee almost?
Yeah, I had a pair of those.
Dude, I had like 20. I went through those like freaking socks. You know, just freaking love them. Especially doing exactly what OG is doing.
It looks like
Wandering around
another
in the woods.
waterfall over here.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
need a lighter freaking color.
So you had your 20 things. I was aptly listening to your story of the moccasins. Were you done?
Oh, I found a place I could get them. You know, they're not easy to find anymore, and I found a place I could get a pair. And I know as soon as I do, the boy's going to be like, "I want a pair of those. Those are cool." Because back in the day when I was doing stuff like OG is doing, or other stuff, they made a great hiding place for things. You know, because they went up all the way to the knees, and you just reach down and pull out the thing or other thing that you might need or want at any given moment, and you weren't
So
going to
like a
lose
knife, you're saying?
it. Maybe there were other things that you could put in the boots that you might want to pull out, and
No.
and just you know.
Thank you for asking. I'm not hungry.
This one dries up fast when the spring thaw.
No, I did the whole, what are we having for dinner?
The room is looking better.
Thank you. That's just, I was being nosy, babe.
A lot of iron in the ground here. You can see the rust
Yeah, I can.
in the oxide.
Yeah, you can totally see. You know, if I was there, I would scoop
Panic.
some of that up.
Sorry.
You know, like some of the sand or what have you. I'd scoop some up, let it dry out, run it through a sieve or a grater, and use that for basic material.
Yeah.
I don't even
No, that's a good idea.
Do you have a Ziploc with you?
No, I got a coffee in my one hand, phone in the other. But I at some point I'll be getting buckets and buckets and buckets of this because I'm going to actually like come over and pan it by scooping buckets full out with like a little shovel
Yep.
and running it through the. I have all the sifters for panning and putting into a bucket, so you put through to get down to the gold. And I have
Nice,
metal detectors.
Okay, since we're talking about the moccasin boots, we have to talk about the glaring discrepancy or omission in the entirety of Dungeons and Dragons and moving silently.
Not what I just did.
We all know that what you're wearing on your feet will either hinder or help your attempt at moving silent. Will they not?
Oh yeah.
If
A
you're
large part in walking on the ball of your feet too, and how you put your weight in your feet.
But if you're wearing big old freaking Conan style, high top, high thick leather heeled, pirate boots, and you try to do any kind of freaking sneaking, I'm throwing a minus 20% on your ass.
You best wrap cloth and towels around your feet.
But if you're wearing
And
the low
decide
top,
that's.
I mean, is that getting too in the weeds with that or no? And if
No,
you're
because
wearing
silence and silence is really important in D&D to whether the monsters figure out where you are and ambush you, or turn out the lights and wait for you.
Or if you're running an elf, a ranger, or a thief, or a combination of any of those, we lost DM James.
Oh no, yeah, footwear is really important to a thief. They should be wearing at the least doe skin boots, something like that.
Like to give you an example, I just let you in. Where are you? Oh, there you are. Okay, so in the player's handbook, there are 4 kinds of boots: high hard, high soft, low hard, low soft, which tells you how high up on the leg they go and what they're made out. And if you're wearing either of the soft boots, you should get a freaking bonus to move silently. A bonus, in my opinion, because as opposed to walking barefoot, if you're walking barefoot, you might step on something and go ouch inadvertently. And what they're made of is usually like calf skin, deer skin, something like that. That's soft enough to allow you to feel that you're about to step on a twig, and then go, oh, okay, I'm going to move my foot and not step on that twig, right? And thus give you a bonus, or it should just say, we're not going to give you the bonus, but you must be wearing either these, or these. What do you think?
Well, and don't you also get a big penalty if you're wearing heavy armor?
Well, yeah, in some cases you can't even do that. Like if you're wearing anything over leather, like if you're wearing studded leather or elven chain, you get minuses. But if you're just wearing leather, which is kind of getting a little deeper in the weeds than I want to go, because if you've ever worn like a leather jacket, you know that just because it's made out of leather, that doesn't mean it's quiet. Leather can literally make some noise rubbing against itself. Now, if you're wearing like buckskin, okay, no problem. Unless you got that fringe on you, like Daniel Boone kind of fringe, in which case you're making some noise, right? So you can either say that these characters must be wearing these things to get their normal ability and make it easy, or you can go, hey, because you're smart and you picked the soft boots, I'm going to give you +5. How would you do it?
I like that idea.
I agree with you.
Well, no, it's a question, either or. what makes more sense? To give them a bonus for wearing the right thing, or make it a requirement to wear the right thing in order to get the stated natural ability?
Okay, fine. I'll go back to what you said originally, which is if you're not wearing the right gear, you get a penalty.
Yeah,
Yep.
makes it easier. I think it's a
Yep.
simpler, mechanic, and you just tell them, okay, well, we might want to buy some low soft or some low or some high soft boots, and you're good. In which case, you also, if you buy the high soft boots, you got a really nifty place to carry a couple of daggers and maybe your extra set of thieves' tools.
Depends where you're walking too, because like you might be able to wear certain types of footwear
Only
and
rich people
sneak
get
around
afford
in the
shoes.
woods, but only rich people can afford shoes or boots. Yeah. So while you might be able to sneak around the woods, say in Roman sandals, you'd never be able to sneak around in a dungeon in those because they have iron studs on the palm of their,
Mhm.
they're all hobnailed and all
Fighters don't move silently. That's stereotyping fighters.
that. Yeah.
Conan's pretty sneaky.
Don't judge my fighter. He sneaks. No.
Yeah, I think we worked that out. Thanks, Solomon. I don't know why you're not
Especially-
in here, but it's cool.
See, in Hyperborea, certain classes that have the ability to stealth also have the ability to have a better armor class when they're not wearing armor.
Like the barbarian in AD&D.
Yeah, except there's like 3 or 4 classes in Hyperborea that are that way. Like the scout, which is basically just the thief that specializes in outdoors bullshit.
Yep.
Yeah, as long as they're not wearing armor, their armor class is like 6 or something. Well, the one in the party, but he's got dex bonus, which means his armor class is basically as good as somebody wearing chainmail or something like that, even though he's not wearing anything. And it's all just because he's, I guess, good at dodging.
Well, think about this. Think about all those times we've watched like a movie or something where the unarmored guy, the hero, let's call him, has to deal with some big bruiser in like full plate or plate mail or really heavy freaking armor, right? And
Right.
and the kid, the hero, is like ducking and dodging and weaving and getting the shit out of the way, while the other guy is making these big, brutish, swings and attacks, and the lighter guy can get the hell out of the way. Armor has always been done wrong in D&D. Armor makes you heavier and easier to hit.
Right.
You're a bigger target. What it does is it mitigates the damage or the effect of a hit.
Yeah, but
That's
as we
complicated
said,
and nobody wants to do it, and I get it.
D&D is abstract combat versus more simulationist combat, which would have armor absorbing damage but making you slow and all that sort of things.
Yep, exactly. And nobody wants to run that, and I totally get it, but it could have been done. If a simple mechanic had been developed in the very beginning, I think things would have been,
You would
vastly
like it better?
different. No. I'm okay with it. I mean, I run AD&D, and after a while, when you start getting like magical plus armor and things like that, you got a +1, chainmail +2 shield, crap like that. You just, tell yourself it's the magical bonuses that are making it, making them harder to hit. That's fine.
Right.
The shield just catches the blow, no damage scored, that kind of thing. But
Right. So what do you think about how all of the medium to heavy armor in Hyperborea has damage resistance on it?
that's a simple mechanic, where it just
like
takes
it.
off. It just takes off X number of any hit.
Yeah,
it doesn't
so
have to be a lot.
if you're wearing like plate and mail, it absorbs 2 points of damage from every
Right.
time you get hit. Plus your
And-
heart.
and- and that can literally mean, if you think about it, especially in the early stages of the game. If a character can afford like chainmail, right?
Right.
Sometimes they can. Sometimes they can literally afford that. Especially like if you were running the old AD&D fighter and you roll and you can get up to 200 gold, so you get like say you get 150. First purchase chainmail right off the bat, and we'll work our way down from there. Unless you need a horse. If the DM says you're going to need a horse, well, that's going to take a chunk of change as well. But if you can just go, okay, I'm grabbing the chainmail, a shield, a helm, and lo and behold, I get a -1 or 2 off all the damage I take. That's going to make your character survive longer and more equipped to survive at first level to second to third, etc., without you having to use, like the cure light wounds as much or other things like that, and make it seem like less of like this huge, suddenly you went to second level and you can take twice as much damage as you could the previous game, and
Right.
then you go to third level and now you can take a third more damage, which I mean, unless you're bodybuilding or doing like what OG does, the Rocky, what was it, Rocky 4, training out in the snow, and you're not getting more hit points. You know what I mean? You get to a certain amount of hit points in life and you top out. And that's usually when you're younger, not when you're older.
Which is
I mean,
what
unless
Professor Dungeon Master does. He caps hit points in his game at like 35. No matter
there's
what
different
level
ways
you
to try it.
are, 35. And I think that's for fighters. Might be less for everyone else.
I've seen those as well, Chris, but that's a completely very specialized, bit of training. Maybe it only took him a couple of weeks to be able to do that, but the average guy doesn't think about doing that because the average fighter's never seen anybody probably do a cartwheel unless he watched like some little girls doing it while playing or something, and it
Well,
might not have occurred to him that, hey, if I do that, I can dodge some freaking arrows or some shit.
it is a fact. Chris is 100% right that a soldier, warrior, knight, whatever, in a custom fit, fully articulated set of plate no armor has a lot more agility than a guy in a chainmail hopper.
Mhm.
Chainmail is a pain in the ass to wear if you don't belt it right because all of the weight rests on your shoulder, and over time it will just wear your shoulders. And I don't
Not
even
only that, it's like walking around in a giant freaking soaking wet wool blanket. It's fucking heavy everywhere.
So
You
what
know,
you have
it's
to do is when you're wearing a long chainmail hobber, like the knee length ones, is you grab it at your waist and you pull it up, and then you cinch the belt under that so that it separates the weight between what your hips are carrying and what your shoulders are carrying.
yep.
Even then, though, I mean, I've actually got a set of a hobber. I don't think I can fit in anymore, but yeah, it's not easy to wear for a whole day. So when I was doing SCA, I got rid of the hobber as far as wearing it for actual combat, and I went to like what they call Wisby plate, or as Gary Gygax for some reason called it, brigandine. And all brigandine is 2 layers of thick material, leather, canvas, whatever, with square plates of hopefully metal, but they use damn near anything, sandwiched between the two and riveted.
Yep.
And that was so much more protection, one, because in SCA, you're not actually facing a blade. I mean,
it's just
even though you say it's your sword, it's a big
rattan
club,
pole.
is what that is, right?
Yeah.
And it's like a cane pole, but it's rattan, so it's solid.
That's what I said was rattan.
Yeah, that rattan. And I've caved somebody's helmet in with it. If you get them right, you can crease a helmet. But
yeah.
There's the house down there.
What you got down there?
There's the house, the log house.
Oh, I can just barely see a shadow.
Sorry. I don't know if you can see
I
that
see
down
it.
there.
Yeah. Anyway, I don't know what we got off on armor, but I mean, chainmail is awesome because you can be mobile in it because it flexes with you. But if somebody
It's
comes
not
up
like
on me with like a war pick or a big mace or something,
Yeah,
I mean,
it's
it's
like-
zero protection. I hope you've got like a gambeson on under it or something, because when I first started fighting in that chainmail, I didn't have a gambeson, so I wore the chainmail over like my normal tunic. And this night I was fighting with, I actually fought with every week. Balder was his SCA name. He smacked me so hard when I got home and I pulled my shirt off to take a shower. I had a chainmail pattern bruise. Like
Through the
you could see
Gambison?
the links where that stick had hit me and just friggin'. So after that, I saved up like the $90 and bought me this really good, authentic, cotton batted, Gambison, which I practically could have just wore that as armor.
Yep.
And in D&D, it would be cloth armor because it was
The Vikings would do that. That's
Yeah,
the
it
coat
was
they
just
wore
like
all the time.
thick cotton between two layers of
Exactly,
canvas.
Daryl.
Throw some boiled leather on it.
Yeah, man.
Spot.
But then I wore that with the Mel, which made it a lot hotter here in Florida to fight in the summertime. But it also meant that if somebody smacked me, it didn't leave nasty, Because there were times I would come home from the park and I would look like a tiger shadow. Like I'd take my shirt off and there would just be long, narrow black bruises all over me. Which for some
My brother
reason,
just got his plate armor, James. He does the boo hurt. $5,000 for his armor.
Yeah, you're
Fitted
talking
plate.
about that guy's buying like gothic plate. I mean, that
Yep.
shit, forget about it. It's expensive. But now there was a bonus, and you know me, I like to share. Shadow knows this. The lady I was dating at the time, for some reason, the bruises turned her on so much. So I'd come home and strip off, and she'd see all that shit and just go nuts. So that was cool, or not. Depending, I like, why does this woman get so turned on by me being damaged? I don't know. But yeah, but when
Women like their tan, they're bad boys. They like them with bruises.
Yeah.
And dirt on
When
them.
I went to the Wisby plate, I almost never got bruises anymore because that layered steel between the leather could take a hit from a club like nobody's business, because the way it's slapped in there, Shadow, it's actually designed where it bends out really easy, but when you try to push it in, it locks rigid. You know what I mean? So a guy hits you with some
plate armor, that would be fun.
In, and then I didn't get bruises anymore.
And then she lost her.
Oh well, she wandered off anyway. You know how it is.
Yeah.
SCA chicks.
And why Rollmaster?
And that's why the guy who created Rollmaster literally was it Rollmaster RuneQuest Perrin, I think was his name. He was an SCA guy. And so he created a system that was supposed to simulate. No, I'd never went to Pensick, which from what I hear is just a good place to go and get like what's that, dysentery? I did go to Gulf War though, which is in
in case you were wondering, folks, where to get dysentery, maybe you got to get out of.
Yeah, a lot of people like the titanium. I'm a purist. All of my armor was made out of actual just steel, mild steel, in fact, which sucks because it means I had to have steel wool and oil, and, keep that shit polished up, or else it would rust. But
which is another thing,
And I don't mean I've actually been to 2 Gulf Wars in my life then. Because I went to the one in Iraq, but then I went to the one in Alabama too. And the Gulf Wars at Alabama, there was like thousands of SCA people there from all over, And being that I was representing Florida, Florida is unique in the SCA in that it's the only state that's its own kingdom. Every other kingdom in the SCA is states. or parts of multiple states. You see what I mean? Like the Kingdom of Mists or whatever. It's like California and Portland, and part of California, but Trimaris is just Florida. We are the Kingdom of Trimaris. White and blue with 3 dolphins and a trident.
Yeah, I'm waiting until I can get my my jetpack assisted titanium plate armor.
Nice. Or at
then
least
now it's
Rocketeer.
not wrong. There were a lot of guys that would make armor or shields and stuff like that out of titanium or aluminum, like aircraft grade aluminum. And I mean, to be honest, it's way lighter, so there's no rules against it.
Well, I mean, we've all had to have seen these Iron Man esque suits of armor with the hand mounted and back mounted jets, for stabilization and things like that. I'm telling you, man, that's got to be just like a childhood dream come true to do that. Just
one thing though, off grid, your bro got his plate mail. I've never seen anybody at an SCA event wearing plate mail. Like Gothic.
He has a YouTube.
I've never seen.
He has a YouTube channel, and if he gets some new stuff uploaded with it, I'll be sure to share it with you guys. I think I shared it on the Discord.
Well, if you don't, if share it on your Discord, share it on mine. I know you're on mine too.
Yeah, definitely. I would definitely like to see that. I know you sent me a video a while back. I think you did.
His channel's called War in the North, like all one word, without spaces.
Oh man, I think I might have actually seen that channel.
Cool.
Small world.
Yeah, they all have to wear plate armor because they used like the real deal weapons, and you got like 300-pound dude, like pig farmers, pounding you with like pole axes and shit.
Yeah, that's not SCA. That's what do they call that? That HEMA?
Boo-hurt. Boo-hurt and HEMA's like another branch off. They're both basically the same.
Sounds like it's Boo-hurt. It sounds like it's
they actually use real weapons.
I always tease them. I'm like, okay, don't get butthurt about it. If I say something wrong about his Boo-hurt.
Well, yeah, that is a huge sport in Russia, right?
Oh yeah, big time. Their team, the crazy rivalries are when Ukraine fights Russia. Woo!
Oh yeah, these dudes walk out there with plate armor with blunted swords.
They're selling war.
It sounds brutal.
Yeah, they're in a ring. It's full contact with real weapons. They're just not edged. And these guys go at it. I mean, like, as a guy who fought for a couple of years in the SCA, I don't think I'd want any of that shit, man. And they're big. When you
not
see
at our age.
You see those Russian dudes walk into the ring and they're like 6'5", 300 pounds armored up and shit. It's like, nah, I'm good.
There's a lot of support that goes into it too, like people being refs or helping with setup or all the different logistics of it. Dude, so even for me, I'm 50 and I'm a bit out of shape, but I still want to be involved in it. So I'm going to at least 3 medieval fairs to watch my brother fight every year now.
Yeah, that in Russia they show that on TV, like you were saying. It's an actual. There's teams and competition, like prize money. It's like boxing in America, except over there they're beating the shit out of each other with pole axes. It's crazy.
It's awesome.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure lately the Ukraine-Russia matches have been pretty,
Something pooped in here. Really big poops.
Oh, look at that.
We had a moose up on our property, and it might be his.
Well, that's
and then we had a baby moose on the road.
Don't look like a predator.
Well,
no,
have you ever heard the song "Moose Turd Pie"?
No,
never heard it.
You guys,
someone's on the receiving end of it, I'm sure.
No. It's not what you think at all. I'll see if I can find it. It used to be on Dr. Demento. It's kind of like a story song, there isn't really like a chorus, but he's playing the guitar, I believe, while he's telling the story about moose turd pie. Um, you've got guys. Remind me if I don't send it to you later. It's definitely something I still remember after 40 years since the last time I listened to Dr. Demento. Um, yeah, you'll get a kick out of it. You will.
Is it kind of like in the same vein as like Alice's Restaurant?
Yes, but shorter, much shorter.
Because you can get whatever you want.
Okay, Omen. All right, Omen remembers. It refers to a guy who's cooking for the train company.
And he's giving them moose turd pies.
You kind of.
The dandelions are coming up.
My God.
I'm gonna do something with them this year. I'm actually gonna, because you see all the bees on them and stuff, but I want to try like their roots and the tea and all that stuff this year.
Well, I mean, yeah, dandelion. You can make dandelion tea. You can also eat greens. They're a little bitter, but they're all right.
Supposed to be good, really good for you.
Yeah, I learned that.
Are you guys familiar with dandelion wine and Something Wicked This Way Comes, the Ray Bradbury stories?
Well, dandelion wine, I think only like gnomes and fairies drink that.
Well, it's a title of a Ray Bradbury story that I need to read. It's good though. I'll get over it. Always
I
count
was
on
thinking honestly about the legend when they were giving Jack the drink in the little acorn cup. And they had the little, oh, it's so precious, the little gnomes or whatever they were. I mean, I don't even, some kind of fairies, brownies or.
Mhm.
No, I think the one guy called it pot pixie or some shit.
Mm-hmm.
Sounds Canadian. Well, Canadians.
We're not all the same.
And I was thinking when you were talking about occult stuff in Canada, and I was sitting here thinking, well, Canada is not extremely far from Greenland.
I'll be right back. Okay,
and according to Lovecraft, there's Cthulhu cultists in Greenland and have been for thousands of years. So now, is that anything to do with real life? No, unless you're Venger. But, and I didn't say that to be mean at Venger at all, but Venger is one of those guys that thinks that Lovecraft wasn't writing stories. He was actually like psychic. And that all of the stories he wrote were actually based on real dream. He was having dreams about real life.
Create a revenue stream?
Right. Now, I don't think Lovecraft believed that, but that is a theory that floats around with some people that the great old ones are real. And Lovecraft, whether he knew it or not, was just channeling their dreams and then writing the stories about them.
I don't rule anything out unless I can definitively prove it away, even if it makes me like scared to my core to even believe that could be out there. Anything could be possible, and I just focus on my realm.
Right. See, being the Lovecraft fan, but also being Orthodox, I believe that if the great old ones existed, that God would whip their ass anyway.
More than likely, yeah. But there's this talk about 6 ancient creatures or something that God created before man. That video popped up to me the other night. I'm thinking, what?
Well,
was this
you had Leviathan, the Behemoth, right? Leviathan, Behemoth, some other stuff. Supposedly, there's 4 angels chained in the Tigris Euphrates.
And when it lowers,
if you get into like the Book of Enoch and stuff, it gets out there, man.
Yep. The whole 88 books kind of change those other 66.
Right. Which that's the big difference between the Ethiopian Orthodox Church and the other ones is they have the Book of Enoch as part of their actual scripture, and we don't. But then we have books that the Roman Catholics don't, And then the Roman Catholics have books that Protestants don't. So it's like you just keep going down the line, you know. And then our books are a
At the
little different.
time, yeah,
I think our book
I think
of
at the time
Esther and Jude are bigger than theirs, but one of their books is bigger than ours. It's weird, man, when you get into it.
well, there's a lot of control effort from Rome to control what was going to be in their state religion when it started out, and Christianity had already spread out and got outside of Pandora's box before they got to the Council in Nicaea part. So, like, Irish Christianity is older than Roman, some say, because of a very early saint that went there and taught their form of it.
Well,
the earliest form
a
of
lot
it
of people
before
don't
Empire
know
got a
this,
touch of
but-
it.
Sorry, I am so sorry for talking over you.
That's okay.
I apologize. Saint Patrick is an Orthodox saint. He's not a Roman Catholic saint. They
I agree
claim
with you.
him, but their church did not exist when he was doing his ministry. So,
Yep.
So there's overlap there too, where they took a lot of the saints from our church, and then they have saints we don't accept. But the whole idea of sainthood is the concept of sainthood is completely different between the two churches, because in Orthodoxy, in order to become a saint, you just have to live a good and just life. That's something other people around you would inspire to be, right? But in Catholicism, Roman Catholicism, you have to do like 3 miracles and blah, 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 right? But yeah, you don't need to do miracles to be a saint in Orthodoxy. You just have to be a really good person. You know?
Yeah. An example.
So, even that changes. And then, of course, Protestants don't even believe saints are a thing. A lot of them.
And yet, how many of their churches have saints' names?
Yeah, it's weird when you get into it. And then if you drop in like even the older religions like Zoroastrianism and Jainism and shit like that, I mean, you could go down the rabbit hole and just be like, wow. Because in our Bible, a lot of people don't know that the 3 kings who came to visit Christ, they were Zoroastrists. They were not.
They're basically pagans. Basically pagans.
You would think, right? They were the Iranian state religion at the time, you know, which also, just to bring it to more contemporary, Freddie Mercury and his family.
Yep. What I'd like to know is how did 3 different, like, because they're supposed to be from 3 different groups, like 3 different ethnicities, the wise men.
They always show
so, like,
that.
how did all their knowledge line up and in order to join up and then go to where like Jesus was? Like, that's just miraculous in itself. It's like the message was sent out. Like, God speaks through other things than just through a priest. He speaks through signs.
I know they were following a star.
Nature too, I believe.
It was the star they were following, right?
Yeah.
So if there was a star there, no matter where they started from, if they all followed the same star, maybe eventually they got to the same.
But what far-reaching religion and knowledge would cover the earth to make those 3 people from possibly 3 different areas and cultures align on that star? Like, that's intense. But didn't it come to them in visions as well, like their appearances by angels to them?
I have never spoke to a Zoroastrian person. I don't know if they had a prophecy back then.
Well, they were being wiped out. They're the Kurds. The current day remaining Zoroastrians were Kurds, I believe. Yeah. Kurdistan.
Which is why Freddie Mercury was even in Britain, because they had to flee Iran because, you know, they were being, like you said, wiped out.
Yeah.
Freddie Mercury's real name was like Faoud or something like that. Faoud something.
Yeah.
Now I've read about Zoroastrianism, and it's a really, really interesting, like, it's an interesting faith, I think. Very interesting. They got weird rules too. Like, some animals are automatically considered evil. So like turtles are considered evil, but otters, which in their language they call water dogs, are considered to be good.
Well, I can see them being water dogs. They're so funny and playful. I like otters.
Yeah, they seem like they're having a good time. It's hard to picture them as, you know, like badgers. You know, those guys are evil.
I imagine whoever was looking at these animals, they're like, that turtle is an asshole, but look at these fuzzy little guys over here. They're cool, It's like, but yeah, they have weird like burial rites where they would build temples, and then if you died, they put you on top of the tower to allow you to, let nature take its course, because they consider burying people or burning them to be like, it made the fire of the earth unclean.
Huh.
And what's interesting is the Japanese Shinto believe that. That's why they always cremate, because they think if you bury people in the ground, it's tantamount to like a biohazard. You're literally.
Well, I mean, if you don't bury them deep enough, yeah.
Well, no, that's the big thing that's going on in Japan between like some of their immigrants and the Japanese government, is that the Muslims want to bury their dead, because in Islam you have to bury your dead within 3 days, I think. And the Japanese are like, no, because they, like I said, they consider that shit to be like despoiling the earth. And it ain't like they got a lot of earth to just turn into giant graveyards anyway over there.
Exactly. Yeah, if it's not their ancestors going in the soil, they don't need anybody else's there going in the soil.
Right.
I agree with
them
them on that.
themselves. I mean, I'm not a weed.
Well,
but
I mean, when push comes to shove, it's their freaking land. They say no, then the answer is no. It's the same. You turn that around and someone dies over there. What are they going to do? Are they going to do what your faith, religion, beliefs require? Are they going to be like, oh yeah, sure, we'll do the thing for you? Damn well they're not.
Yeah, but I want to go back to another thing, because I'm looking at the woods behind Off-Grid over here.
This is a really interesting question from Chris. Do any of you have competing factions of the same religion god in your campaign? No, I try to avoid that, because I did that, and it just got really, really confusing. And unless you want to like try to work that into like you've got a false version and you want that rooted out and have the players go root that out, there's a something that someone's trying to pull some shenanigans, and you give the cleric portion of the party something to do that's tied into their beliefs and what they're supposed to do anyways. Otherwise it's just and like in my D&D world, Off-Grid can attest that there's not many people left on the whole freaking planet, so everybody's kind of in line with their particular deity. If they there's no room for that anymore. Maybe once upon a time, but I figured it out. On the whole planet, there's less than 100,000 intelligent humanoids left of all the races, including giants and hobgoblins, elves. There's no goblins. There's no orcs. No kobolds. No. A lot of the things that you'd expect in like a fully regular D&D kind of Greyhawk world. My planet's like 90% water, so
bulk of the evil subterranean races got the Great Flood wiped out,
especially the short ones.
Yeah, I couldn't run very fast.
Well, my answer for Chris is yes. Pretty much every cult to a great old one is competing with every other cult.
There's another good point. I do like that as well.
There. So, like, if you have 5 cults of Cthulhu operating in a region, they're not friends. Because they all.
I didn't think about it like that. When you got the bad guy type things.
Yeah, they all think they're the true bearers of the dreaming god's will, and everyone else.
and even within like say one Church of Cthulhu, The second in command is just waiting for his moment to stab his boss in the back and take
Poison
over.
him.
You know,
Yeah.
the full
Mess with his ritual
Sith,
so he gets eaten by the demon.
the full Sith kind of thing. The only way
Well,
you
in
go up
Forgotten Realms, that was the whole deal with Zental Keep, wasn't it? Is like everyone was always trying to assassinate their way up the church hierarchy.
The Zentarum.
Daryl, you would think that, but I don't think the party has ever run into pirates, have they?
The closest thing was your Black Fleet.
Yeah, and those were undead.
Yeah.
Or no, they weren't
Hey,
undead. They were
undead can be
giants. They were
pirates.
giant
Don't be
trolls.
like that.
Yeah.
Just because they're undead. Remember, I told you a long time ago in my homebrew world when they bought a ship, they were traveling between Kaliningrad and Mostengrad, and they got attacked by a pirate ship where the captain was a vampire and all the crew were various types of lesser undead. And the vampire had spell abilities. He was a mage. So he had mage class abilities, and how he basically survived is he kept using alter weather or whichever summon weather or whatever. And so his ship was constantly under a storm cloud. And the players got into a fight, and that's a fun thing too, because they ended up sinking the vampire ship, and then they tried to jump on to grab treasure while the ship's going under. And it's like, so yeah, undead vampire or undead pirates, that's awesome. And plus in my campaign I had Draugr, because in the north of Kaliningrad there's a whole nother frozen continent that's completely ruled over by the undead, and they send their long ships full of Draugr to the south to capture slaves to eat / make more undead.
Yep.
So,
Can you imagine as players? Sorry, I don't want to talk over you. Can you imagine as a player, your DM's like you're sleeping on a vessel that's on a voyage, and he's all of a sudden like, okay, everybody needs to make saves for level drain and death. And everybody's like, what the hell? What's all this about? A ghost ship just passed through your ship.
Right. Like a completely ethereal ship crewed by ghosts and wraiths and stuff. That would be mean. That would be mean. I kept the undead on the ship that my players had to fight, for the most part, corporeal,
Mm-hmm.
And the vampire, in theory, may have lived or not, because they never killed him. Mm-hmm. And the ship went down after he fled to his hidden coffin, and they never found it. So I would say probably died, though, because even if you're a vampire, you're out in the middle of the ocean, hundreds of feet deep. I mean, heaven knows what you might run into. Big white shark comes up and just snaps your ass in half. And it's like, well, so much for you, buddy.
That Nosferatu, that recent Nosferatu movie was like nightmare fuel. Like the one where, was it called Nosferatu? The one where he took, it was called the Demeter. That was about the ship travel.
About the ship that Dracula had used to,
Yeah, that was nightmare fuel, that movie. I was like, wow.
Yeah, my buddy, Holy Diver, or Angry Tabletop Nerd, he did a review of Nosferatu, and he did not care for it very much.
I haven't seen Nosferatu. I saw the
new one with like Willem Dafoe and all of that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he
did you read about the Serbian vampire that like spawned the whole vampire craze? That the government actually registered that there was a vampire in Serbia?
I have, yeah.
I just watched a whole YouTube video on that last night. It was like, wow, crazy. People were burying scythes over their loved ones' necks in case they rose, and like spiking them down and burying them upside down, like face
very
down.
Common in the Southeast European Slavic places was to like nail the guy to the ground with an iron bar through his chest, like after you buried him. It's like, wow. What's weird though is the vampires we know it was based on an Irish monster called the Unshrivened, which means the unblessed, the unshrivened or whatever.
Okay.
So Bram Stoker, being an alcoholic Irishman, basically took the Irish monster and then gave it, the name of an actual historical Christian hero, I would say.
Yeah, they really defamed him, Vlad Tepes.
Yeah. Bram Stoker really defamed Vlad Tepes, but in Slavic mythology, bro, there's like 50 kinds of vampire.
Yeah,
Between Strigoi and all kinds of shit, it gets nuts. It's like pretty much anything can be a vampire. It just depends, I mean, if we're using the term blood drinking undead, just endless types of that.
If I was ever try to bring a scientific bend to why it happened, I'd have to say it's like, because back in the old days, people used to just drink whatever water. They weren't as careful about their water, that it was some kind of a crazy parasite that could get past the blood-brain barrier and animate the body in a quest for like more blood to feed it, protein to feed it, or something like that. And could lose limited capacity.
That being a thing in like a sci-fi game or a modern game,
Yep.
Like a zombie outbreak or something, but it's actually
just a evil tapeworm.
Yeah, there was a TV series called I think it was called Strigoi. And
I watched that. If it's the one I think I watched that. It came to the US and broke in the States.
Yeah, it like started in Europe and it came to the US and they ended up taking over like New York and then you had like the one Russian guy and the Jewish guy that was like, 200 years old and they were all teaming up trying to kill these Strigs.
That evil camp commandant guy was like the Nazi commandant guy. Was like played a wicked.
Because he had found the Strigoi and made a deal with it to make him live basically forever if he served it.
Yep.
And then when you find out at one point when he's putting his face on, and it's like literally he had to put all the prosthetic nose and makeup and stuff because he had actually been so long a Strig, he turned into one of those horrible monsters. Yeah,
it's like the parasite. The parasite consumes the host at the same time.
Right. Yeah, because there was the one thing where the guys on the airplane all got attacked when the elder Strig or whatever was coming to America, and like the rock star started turning, and then at one point he's in the bathroom and his junk falls off, and he's like, "What?" Because it turns out in that show the Strigoi had a cloaca, because they only ate blood, so they only had one exit down there, like a bird or a lizard. Because that parasite was rewriting them into what they would become. And some of them were like really animalistic, but some of them were really smart. It depended like which Strigoi made you. If they fed you a certain kind of their own blood, you would either be an animal or you would actually keep your intelligence, but be a Strigoi,
Yeah.
I thought The Witcher handled that really well. In The Witcher, the game, there's actually, I've never read the books, but in the game, there's an actual part where you go and this noble's got his daughter locked in like a basement or something, and it turns out that she's a Strigoi, and I mean, there's a lot more worse parts to it than just that, but of course, he has to go down there and put an end to her. And
one should.
As you should. And the other one is Baptism of Fire, which I get called out on. Why don't you run Baptism? Because my group don't want to play, but I love it.
I would play it. I have the PDF. I remember when you recommended it, I went out and got the PDF. Have not played it.
Because so many people just don't want to play a game that's set in the actual world. Even if you make all the mythos of the actual world real, people are like, I got people that had a problem with one being part of the Christian church in a game, Yeah, the strain was really, that was what was called the
That's what
strain.
it's called. Yeah, strain.
Yeah, and
Thanks, Omen.
then again, like me and Shadow talked about this 2 days ago about the whole. I had people complaining. What do you mean I have to play human, right? And then it's like, so we start playing Hyperborean, and they're like, awesome, I get to play an Atlantean. It's like, whatever, you idiot. You know, like, I don't want to play a Polish guy. And now they're like, oh, I'm a Celt? Awesome. You know, it's like, so all of the people who had complaints about a human-centric campaign world are now all like totally with it. And it's because they just didn't want to play in the real world. And even though I try to explain, Hyperborea technically is the same world as our world. It's just either tens of thousands of years in the past or millions of years in the future, depending.
Yeah. Different part, different time.
But they don't care. They're like, nah, this is great. You know?
That fantasy element, people love it.
Yeah. Which I honestly would have thought, again, like you're saying, I would have thought that Baptism of Fire would have hit that, because you could make a fighter or holy warrior, whatever, and you can spend all your time out hunting vampires and, you know, Lechi, and putting an end to Rusalka and Vodavoy. Nah. They're like, nah. But will they hunt down Eskimos that are followers of a cannibal cult? Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's right up their alley. Let's hunt down these Inuits that run around eating people, because
reminds me of the halflings in Dark Sun.
Yeah.
Who are we kidding? Players are fickle. You know, their
can be.
ability to change their ever-loving minds at the drop of a hat is legendary.
Well, I'm going to tell you right now, though, Shadow, I don't see it. I don't see it happening this time.
That's cool.
While
Your
I do agree
enthusiasm
with you,
level must be strong, and it's infectious.
I'm saying I agree with you, but everyone is still
Fingers crossed.
absolutely
Fingers crossed for
loving-
DM James, everybody.
Right. All of the players at my table are absolutely loving this game. And that, I'm not going to say that it's, again, for everyone. Obviously, Shadow don't care for it. But if you game with a bunch of older, 30s plus people who like Lovecraftian type bullshit and D&D, then yeah, this is going to be your thing, man. You're going to like it. And,
I finally get to play in May on a Wednesday game. Thank goodness it starts at 9. I don't have to miss the lair. Still get to go do that, and then I get to go play Hyperborea.
Yeah.
Cool.
We got to go see what freaking Double D's up to.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I watched Double D for the first 30 minutes, but sorry, after that I got to go watch Salty.
Hey man, that's okay. See, I'm different. I watch Double D on his show, and then I watch Salty every other day of the week, including the day I watch Double D, because he's always putting out his little 5-minute, 10-minute videos.
So, I have literally never missed, since I started watching him back when he had like 75 subscribers. I have not missed one of his shows.
Well, he's a fellow one of your people.
Mm-hmm. And by that, I'm assuming you mean Californian.
Yeah. Yeah, Omen, I wasn't trying to give all the spoilers out, but yeah, that's it. Yeah, and I think it had something to do with, there might have been some no stuff going on between a father and a daughter and all kinds of weird ass shit. Yeah. Or I might be thinking Berserk though, because in Berserk, the princess that Griffith sleeps with and then gets captured and tortured to no end for years. The main reason the king did that is because he was basically grooming his daughter to be his next wife. So he, made Griffith a eunuch / castrato and cut the tendons in his arms and his legs and pulled his tongue out and just completely wrecked him. And of course, the whole time Griffith was in the dungeon being tortured, he blamed Guts. But it wasn't Guts' fault. Griffith's an asshole. Anyway, see, that's the campaign world you need to play in, Shadow.
Why exactly? I must have missed that point.
Just because it's cool. Berserk.
The anime, like Berserk anime.
I'm kind of surprised no one has ever made like a Berserk role-playing game.
Didn't the Japanese do that?
The only one I'm aware of the Japanese doing is Goblin Slayer.
Maybe
they made a Goblin Slayer role-playing game, and Bear showed it to me, and he said it was like reading one of those. I forget the name. Do you remember when you could go to like the auto parts store and buy those freaking thick-ass books, and it would tell you how to do everything on a model of a car? I forget who put those out, but you know what I'm talking about.
I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
Like if you actually read and understood what you were reading, you could rebuild a car. Just that's how he said that the Goblin Slayer role-playing game read. It was just super dry, just like, you know, there was no whatever to it. But apparently, unlike in the anime, which you do see in the anime, but they don't point it out, there is a halfling race, like a race of shorties. And then, of course, if you watch the anime, you obviously know there's dwarves and elves and lizard men that apparently like to eat each other because they're necromancers and cannibals. You know, and the dwarves and the elves don't like each other. Like basically, the elf is always calling the dwarf an alcoholic, and the dwarf is always telling the elf that she's not very pretty. Right. Oh, now that's what I've ran into because I had this whole. Now I did run a solo Baptism of Fire game for Timothy. Litholdus, he loved it. But you know, Litholdus, he'll play anything. If you
I'm going to say that's the most amiable guy we know.
I know. He's like, oh, does it involve dice and I get a character? I'm like, yeah. And he's like, I'm down. And he was playing some guy that was like a Polish warrior, and in the adventure he had to go find out why a village had not paid tithes to. He was kind of a lesser noble, serving. So think a knight serving like a landowner, and it turned out the village had been raided by Penichigs or Pechenigs, which are kind of like your proto-Mongolian steppe warriors that used to rampage around, you know, Ukraine and Russia and Poland, parts of Poland. And so he set out on this whole adventure to hunt those bastards down because they burnt the village down, killed almost all the men, and everyone else was missing. So that was kind of his deal, was to put together fellow Poles to go out here and try to capture these Central Asian plains riders and get the people back. The Russian series, yeah. The last Russian movie I watched was Vikings, the story of Vladimir of the House of Rurik, the first king of all the Kievan Rus. It was really good. I liked it. You can see it for free on YouTube. And it does give you some insight to the way shit went down, too. Like Gogol, when the Kievan Rus would marry, this is really weird. Now, I assume it's only the nobles did this.
Thanks, Off-Grid.
Before they converted.
Showing up, and I'll see you tonight. Absolutely.
Oh, Off-Grid had,
his internet crashed. I'm going to shut her down in 5 minutes anyways. I got to get ready for tonight and do my regular chores and stuff. But
well, then I'm going to talk very quick.
No, you feel free, man.
Basically, when a noble married a noble woman, they would do the ceremony, which was a pagan ceremony, in front of like their gods Perun and whatever, and they carved totem poles, basically like these big wooden posts with the faces on them, and then they would lay a blanket out, and the wife would have to remove her husband's boots, and then they would consummate the marriage in the middle of the grand hall while his huskarls, his trusted men, or maybe Drazina, as you know, in the Russian, would watch and stamp their boom, boom. Weird.
That is so. I can't think of a better way to kill the mood. You know what I mean? Just
Well, I mean, the king was probably drunk as shit, and in the wedding I'm talking about, you should watch the movie, so I'm going to spoil a little bit of it. This princess in what was the town? Starts with an O. Insulted Vladimir. So Vladimir and his gang of Vikings that he had been out raiding with, they took over the castle, pretty much killed everyone in it, and then they forced her mother and father watch her be forced to marry him, and after that he cut their throats because that's what you did. And
that's what they did. I didn't do that. I wasn't there.
That's what they did when they were pagan.
You said, yeah, and fucked up in the head, and
right. That was that was the way it was when they were pagans, and that's the whole point of that thing, is to show you how they behaved as pagans, right? And of course, she tries to kill him a lot of times, but she's just a little blonde thing, and he just easily overpowers. Like she comes at him with a knife, and he's just like, "Give me that knife, bitch," shit like that. But and it all starts because one brother. There's the three brothers, Yaropolk, Oleg, and Vladimir, right? Well, Yaropolk accidentally kills Oleg. So then Vladimir has to show up to kill Yaropolk because of like this blood thing. And then the reason the blonde girl, Vladimir wanted to make an alliance with her father, the ruler of that city, to get men, but Vladimir's mother was a servant. So while his father was the king of the house of Rurik, his mother was like some Slavic servant, not a Swede or whatever the hell they were. No one's 100% sure, but Scandinavian. And she insulted him and called him like the son of a slave and all this kind of shit. And Vladimir was like, well, okay. And next thing you know, they're just killing everybody. Yeah. One of my favorite characters is the Berserker. He's like this big fucking bastard, right? Like 7 foot tall guy, right? Head shaved, because the Vikings shaved their heads a lot. People don't seem to know that, but they would put clay on their head, damp clay, and shave it. But they'd grow their beard, right? And this guy was wearing like a bear hide with the head of the bear, had a big 2-handed hammer, and before every battle, they would like juice him up with some freaking hallucinogenic mushrooms. Like the Vikings would get together, and you'd see them hand him the bowl, and you could see the mushrooms floating in it, and he'd drink it, and then he'd work himself up, and the next thing you know, he's jumping up, into people with that 2-handed hammer, just crushing everybody. But when he wasn't tweaked out, he was like a really nice guy. That was kind of the weird thing, because when you'd see him not in a battle, he was just like this dude. He's playing with kids and and doing that. But then they'd hook him on and get him on that freaking those magic shrooms, and this guy would be a monster, going nuts. He's a really good guy. And then another good guy, and
except for all the smashing and squishing and
well, I mean, outside, but you got to remember, that's all these guys did. The Kievan Roots, it was just nonstop. There was like, turn your back for a second, somebody's putting a knife in you, And there was another guy, I forget his name, And he's the guy that made Vladimir start thinking about life, because he was a Christian. He had been a Varangian, and he still had his sword that had a cross on it.
Mm-hmm.
And he did some really heroic shit. And Vladimir was like, holy shit, how did that happen? Kind of like. And he had a chain around his neck. And Vladimir's like, what is that? And the guy was like, it means I'm a slave to God, but no one else. And Vladimir was like, holy shit, this guy's really cool. Yeah. And so you see the whole evolution of the pagan Rus with their gods that demand sacrifices and stuff and the shit they're doing to each other. And then eventually Vladimir going to Crimea, to the city that we now call Sevastopol, but back then it wasn't Sevastopol, and converting, and then coming back and having the Rus convert. And then, yeah, you would like, it's actually a really good movie, and it's a good action movie. You know what I mean? It's like there's a lot of battles. It's not got a lot of nudity. You ain't got to worry about that. You could actually watch this with your kid. I mean, if you're okay with the fact that there's going to be bloodshed, and all of the characters in it, even the guys playing the Pinachegs, were super cool. You know, they were like good actors. You know, and what happens is when Europol gets killed by betrayal, his head man swears an oath to kill Vladimir. And then they tuck the treasure Europol had hidden. The head man knew where it was. So again, Huskarls or Drazina, depending on how you want to call them. And they gave all that gold to the Pinachegs. Again, these Asian Mongol-looking people, to help them kill Vladimir. But then at some point, the Byzantine show up, right, in one of their big ships. The Eastern Romans show up, and the Pinachegs or Pechenegs, I always mess that up. They run away for a while because they have a rule that they never ever fight the Romans under any circumstance. And which pisses the Viking guy that hired them off to no end. So you see what I'm saying? It's complicated. There's a lot of, and in real life, that guy Vladimir did end up marrying Basil Prophorus's sister Anna, to kind of lock it in, where the Kievan Rus would come to the aid of the Byzantines in battle and stuff. So he married one of the emperor of the Byzantine Empire's sisters. So yeah, watch it.
Send me a link, or I'll forget.
I'm giving you the British salute from Benny Hill. I'll catch you later, bro. Thank you.
Take care, man.
On.
Always a pleasure. Have a great weekend, and maybe I'll see you tonight.
Oh, I got chores tonight, so I don't know.
I'm gonna miss the party.
Well, maybe I'll get them done before.
Take care. Say hi to the wife for me.
I will.
Bye. Everybody else out there in TV land, have yourselves a great week.